Alright, guys, I'm back to talk about, more stuff going on with the whole Paramount merger and Warner Brothers merger. Yep, it seems like things are really heating up. Yeah, it's basically just, it's getting pretty ugly with some stuff and all that, and people are not very happy about Paramount and Warner Brothers merging. Also, I could say the same thing about Netflix too. It's like a freaking like civil war thing going on here. Is what it is. But Netflix dropped out, so Paramount ended up getting Warner Brothers. Supposedly they'll get it unless they get blocked, which I don't think they're going to. They might, I don't know. But I'm going to be kind of talking about this kind of stuff. If you guys haven't already, please hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I don't normally go and talk about, I haven't been really talking about all this kind of stuff constantly because at this point, I'm kind of just getting over Hollywood. I'm like kind of just sick of it, and all that, but sometimes I like to throw in my opinion about some stuff too. So yeah. So, anywho, though, for people, like I've said before, people are not interested in this kind of stuff. I do reviews and Let's Plays, too. I do that. This is just for my own opinions. And I have actually some stuff to say about this. So, without any further ado, get your popcorn or whatever you like, and, because I don't really like popcorn, the kernels get stuck in your mouth, and all that. I'm not really a popcorn, person, but anywho, if you get your, whatever, your popcorn, your candy bucket, or whatever, and, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, like I said, already, Paramount and Warner Brothers are merging. There's the whole buyout and all that. And people are flipping out. People are pissed about this. They are pissed about this. And all that. They are pissed. And all that. And all that. And, the thing is, though, that, like I said, the deal hasn't gone through yet. I've seen people quote on it, and I'm just like, I have a feeling they're gonna get away with it, because, we've had mergers before and all that, and you could say the way they did it is not right, but, I'm just saying, that's kind of how the world is, and, a lot of crap's not fair, but, it happens anyway. But basically, though, people are very split on this whole thing, Some people, wanted, Netflix to have it. Some people wanted Warner Brothers to get sold to Paramount, It was kind of, mixed and all that, And, I'm actually, I actually was kind of rooting for Paramount to get it for a while there. And I don't even want Netflix to have it. I'd rather if it just stayed its own thing. But obviously, that shit was not working. Because they had David Lasley in there, gutting shit and canceling crap and all that. He was a very horrible CEO. Basically when he came in there, nothing was getting fixed and all that, It kind of feels like Disney in a way, like they were where they put in Chapek and all that, and he really didn't do anything to fix the company and all that. That's kind of how it feels about, the guy, took over, who took over Warner Brothers here. He took over it. Lasley, ran crap into the ground even further and all that. And, yeah, it's just crazy. It is crazy how these CEOs just get away with this shit, But, yeah, there is a lot of, there's a lot of freaking backlash and stuff on this stuff though, because it's not even really, it's not even really content wise. I mean, yeah, it kind of drives into content stuff, but I feel like people are, with politics right now, people are very split in the middle and all that. Like, I mean, let's be fair here. Like, a lot of people do not like Trump and all that, and the Ellisons are very big Trump supporters. They are huge fans and all that. They are huge fans and all. They are huge fans and all that. And then we have, on the, Democrat side and all that, we have their own crap going on too, and all that, and they were, like, censoring people and all that. Hell, a lot of the shit, they try to call Trump out for, like, you are not allowed to do under Biden, That said, though, I'm in the middle. Like, I think both parties are stupid, like, and I'm like, I just want fucking entertainment. I don't really care about politics a lot, just, like, I'm like, just make good stuff, and that's the problem, we got them people trying to push things one way or the other, and it's just causing more drama, and all, that's kind of the thing, We've had, people on the left side, try to push, the LGBTQ stuff and all that, and properties and all that, and race swap everything. And then we got the right side, trying to take it away and accusing it as brainwashing kids, even, which, by the way, this stuff's been around forever, Well, I mean, not like forever, but at least, from like the 80s and stuff. I mean, like I told you guys, one of the Mario characters, one of the first villains, was, an LGBTQ character and all that. People didn't really say much back then. It's just people got kind of tired of it over time. And that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of Trump getting it, well, not Trump, but, like the Ellisons getting it because they're part of, Trump and all that. They're big Trump fans. They're big Trump fans. And that means that the Republicans will have more control over this stuff, and all that, And like I said, I'm in the middle. I don't care, like, who supports what. I'm just wanting, good entertainment, But that's the problem. That's where we're getting into a problem here with Paramount getting Warner Brothers. Paramount is going to spend a shit ton of money on Warner Brothers. They are going to spend a lot to get it. And remember that Netflix was going to pay 80-something billion, which was already a lot, which I think I've quoted on that before. Yeah, I did. I quoted on that. Back when they were actually announcing buying it. But then, Paramount decided they needed to butt in and then try to buy it because they were in a bidding war. And then Netflix got it, and then, they were trying to, do a hostile takeover, which, by the way, in that case, that was illegal. That was illegal, like, they should have not done that. Yeah, that technically right there is illegal, what they were doing, because they weren't even doing anything illegal. They were acquiring it and all, and they were trying to, like, take him to court. I think Netflix just kind of got tired of fighting it and was just like, you know what? You guys can take it, That said, though, Netflix probably would have raised their prices on streaming, which, by the way, they're doing it as it is right now. They're raising it and all that, but that's the problem. Now, Paramount is going to be with Warner Brothers, which should be fine, because I'm sure the content will probably be a bit better under them. The problem is they're spending a shit ton of money, and they could end up taking both themselves and Warner Brothers down with them. That's the problem. If Warner Brothers just stayed separated, then I feel like the damage wouldn't be as severe. That's the problem. That's what I'm concerned about, and that's the thing, they're gonna have to make cuts. And that's the thing. Remember when Disney acquired 20th Century Fox for $71 billion, they still had to make a shit ton of cuts, and they weren't in as much debt as Paramount was. Paramount was in several, like, was in much, much worse debt before the Ellisons bought it. So that's kind of the problem there. That's the problem, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about it putting both Paramount and Warner Brothers underground. That's what I'm worried about. I don't want to see either studio go under, but that's what I'm afraid is going to end up happening, and, another thing is, too, is, the reason why I'm making this video is not just because it's people making it, people being mad about it, because I was already going to make it anyway, but that I wanted to bring that up. But also, apparently, I think it's confirmed that the Saudis are going to help pay for Warner Brothers. So I'm like, the fact that you need another country to help you pay for it, that just shows you how stupid this is, And not to mention, I'm like, we have enough problems as it is getting shit shipped to the U.S. and all that, from, like, China and all that, Which, we get some good things over there. Like, that's actually where, a lot of food that's made over here came from, like, recipes and all over there. Man, I love some Chinese food. Like, there's this place I go to, it's like Dragon Kitchen and all that. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. But my point is, though, when we had COVID and all that, a lot of that shit was stuck overseas and all because they didn't want to spread the virus and all that. And yeah, it would be a problem over here, too, but the companies also have to pay to ship stuff, too. They have to pay shipping fees and all that. So it would make more sense to have crap more over here. But that's the problem, that's the problem, it's like, now they're going to have the Salvies, get involved with Paramount, too, and all that, and I'm just, like, and then with Warner Brothers, too, that means they're going to be, they're going to get involved with that, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, it feels like the Ellisons are kind of making a deal with the devil here, if you think about it. They're making a deal with the devil. Like they're like, having the Salvies help them out with this stuff. I'm like, if you're going to have another country helping you out with it, like, they could ask you for anything, they could, like, literally ask you for anything, and all that. And we already have Disney, who, by the way, a lot of the, I've mentioned this before, but a lot of their companies, and all their companies, like, owned, outside the U.S., which is a problem, because, again, like I said, shipping and all that is costing money and all that, where, having things over here would be easier, but, and the Chinese and, the Russians and all that, like, would want some of our stuff, too, to enjoy, but, I'm just saying they could probably build, like, factories or something over there, or something like that. Or, I don't know, they could do something over there where it's not constantly needing to be shipped, but I don't know. Maybe they're worried about legal fees or something like that, people trying to steal stuff. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to have it, all, like, all spread out all over the place here, like, we're trying to, like, cut costs and stuff like that, and then we got that going on, Which I think is what the tariffs are for, too. We were doing the whole thing with the tariffs. I think that's what they were, I wasn't really taught about that stuff in school, so I don't really know much about the tariffs. But I'm assuming, that's the way people are describing it. It's like trying to cut stuff from overseas and all. The problem is, though, when you got Paramount and Warner Brothers, two big, massive studios, going overseas, then, that's the problem, that's the issue, and all that. So you have to, like, pay for shit and all from overseas and all, which is, it's just crazy, Another thing is, too, speaking of cutting stuff and all, 'cause I'm going to say they're probably going to start cutting crap. It sounds like they're doing that with Nickelodeon, too. They're like, they've laid off a bunch of employees and all that, and then now, we've got them, laying off employees, but now, they are, now, we got, they're they're laying off their employees, of course, you know, but now we have, like, them trying to, like, I think I've heard they're trying to, like, mix the brands or merge the brands together, like CBS and all that, and, like, Nickelodeon and all that, and I'm like, why are you doing that? That makes no sense. Like, CBS is a news station. I'm pretty sure it's a news thing, it's just a news thing, like, I don't know if it's like ABC maybe has an actual channel too with it. I don't know. But the thing is, though, they're merging it together. You know, and so the brands are going to be together. So I mean, Nickelodeon's still going to be there, but you're kind of burying it under the bus. I'm just saying. But I'm like again, like, how are they going to pay for all this shit? You know, and even if they, you know, have the Saubies help, it sounds like they're just going to pay like you know, like they're gonna pay like, you know, 20-something billion on it. But even if you cut that, they're still gonna be paying pretty much what Netflix paid, which they already would have overspent on that, you know. So it's ridiculous, you know, and it's ridiculous, you know, like, to have all of that, you know, and that's kind of the thing, you know. And I'm going to say this to people who were thinking maybe Netflix should have been the better option. I'm going to say that Netflix also would have had problems, like physical media would be gone and all that. Like, we probably would have physical media gone. There probably would be stuff cut too, because they'd be spending a lot of money. We probably wouldn't even have the channels anymore. The channels would be completely gone and all that, because, you know, everything would be streaming, because Netflix is streaming and all that, and yeah, I mean, we would have a lot of that, you know, stuff too, you know, and all that. Now people are talking about the cartoons being woke and stuff over there, but there's been some cartoons on there that weren't really woke and all that, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know, and Paramount's had some stuff too, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. But, you know, that's kind of the thing there. But I'm sure Netflix will get more expensive and all with. I mean, with Paramount, at least you can buy the stuff on DVD still. At least for now, unless they try to cut that too. But at this point, you can get so much on DVD, and I'm sure eventually probably the entire Cartoon Network library will be on DVD. So, you know, if it's not already, you know, so that would actually be a plus for people who collect physical media. The problem is, though, is they might eventually cut it too, you know, to focus on streaming, you know, because streaming is the thing. But that's the problem, though. I just see, like, basically no matter what, Warner Brothers would be in a disaster. You know, it'd be a disaster, you know. I think if Netflix got it, though, they probably wouldn't be cutting as much, because they're probably going to be cutting a lot more. And you probably wouldn't have another country, you know, running it, but I don't know how well the content would be on it either, you know. Because, I mean, a lot of the content on there's a lot of reboots and stuff, and a lot of them have not been well received. But again, I've only seen a few, but what I've seen, you know, like, it doesn't seem like that, like, it's bad. Like, I mean, the Magic School Bus Rides again was bad, and all, and then they had, like, the Johnny Test reboot and all that actually wasn't that bad. It actually fixed some of the problems, but I'm just saying, you know, like, the fact that, you know, that, Warner Brothers and all that, you know, like I said, I think it's pretty much just done for no matter what. Like, it's probably going to be gutted and all that, and it won't even be really a studio anymore. Kind of like when Disney acquired Fox, they gutted it too, you know, they got rid of, you know, Blue Sky Studios, they shut down a lot of productions that were, you know, in the works. They got rid of the Fox name and all that, like, so it's just studios. Hell, a lot of their movies don't even use the damn freaking Warner, or the damn, studio logo, you know, like a lot of them, like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies and all that, they don't even use the damn logo, you know, so I'm like, it's just stupid, you know. Now, I haven't seen the actual movies themselves, but I was, like, curious, because I remember, like, Buck Wild and all that had the Disney logo, which is a spin-off of Ice Age. It was a bad spin-off, but it was a spin-off of Ice Age, and it had the fucking Disney logo, not the 20th Century Studios one. And that's how all of those were, too. So, yeah, it's like they got the damn IP and pretty much just gutted the rest of the shit, you know? It's like, that's kind of what I feel like is going to happen with Warner Brothers, too, you know? I think it might be like the same thing. And that's the thing, too, if Netflix probably got it, you know, then, you know, they probably wouldn't, like I say, wouldn't be getting gutted as much, but then, you know, like I said, we wouldn't have access to DVDs and all that as this stuff as much, and all that, and, yeah, they cancel a lot of shows very, very early on. I mean, Nickelodeon's done that too with Paramount, but usually they still last a few seasons. A lot of stuff on you know, Netflix kind of just doesn't really do that. You know, they just cancel it after like a season or two, and it kind of gets buried. Like, they don't really even talk about a lot of the shows on there, you know. Not to mention, they're a lot more expensive, too, so, I don't know, but I'm gonna say, yeah, I think no matter what, you know, Warner Brothers is screwed no matter what. They are screwed no matter what happens here, they are screwed, and, honestly, I think they probably would have been better off just shutting down and nobody buys them, you know, that way they could just put a freaking, you know, knife in their heart and just take them out, you know, but, I mean, yeah, that might sound bad for animators and all of that, but I'm like, you know, a lot of them might get cut anyway because of freaking AI and all that, you know, there's a lot of AI, you know, taking over stuff in Hollywood and all that, and that's kind of the thing, you know, like, I think, you know, that's the thing with politics, too, and all that, like, politics just need to, like, they need to stop focusing on politics, too, you know, but it seems like a lot of the left people are the ones that are doing it. I mean, we have J.J. Abrams and, you know, Rosie O'Donnell that are on there, like, pissed about this. 'Cause that's the thing, there's so many people that are not on board with this shit and all that, but I'm just like, you know, they should know that usually these companies get away with this shit, you know? I mean, how many things has Disney gotten away with, you know? Like, how many things have they gotten away with, you know? You know, I'm just saying, you know, like, it's like, it would be no different, you know, here either, you know? And I mean, I should feel bad for these people, but a lot of these people also, you know, during Biden and stuff too, you know, like, you know, were censoring people's comments and stuff like that. They were, like, I've said that, like, they were, and they're not doing it anymore, it's magically stopped, and they want, people try to say, like, it's just the platforms that are doing it, like YouTube and all that, you know, YouTube and all that stuff, you know, like, in, you know, Facebook and all that, but I'm like, you know, you guys, like, it's funny how it just magically all stopped when Trump took office, you know, it just seems very weird. Yeah, like, they were definitely lying to you and all about Biden's health. So it's like, you know, even CNN, like, I don't really care if they go away, you know, I don't care, you know. You know, I'm not saying what the Ellisons are doing was fair, like, yeah, they totally violated shit and, like, were trying to, like, they were trying to use excuses of why Netflix didn't get, like, why they can't get Warner Brothers. And it's all about they weren't getting what they wanted, so they wanted to go to their sugar daddy and get it, you know, which would be overseas, you know. It's like they wanted to go to their sugar daddy, you know, and because they didn't get what they freaking wanted, you know. They just kept pushing the offer and all that, and yeah. And I mean, yeah, I think Netflix should have probably, the guy there should have kept his mouth shut about, you know, the president and that too. That probably didn't help, but I'm just saying, you know, that's pretty much where we're at, you know, the politics and all, it kind of drove a lot of this stuff to the ground. And yeah, I'm just like, I think Hollywood is just dead. Like, it's fucked. Like I said, I think it is fucked. there might be a couple that might survive, but I think it is fucked. I don't think it's coming back. Like, it's done for. Like, I mean, we have now, like, once this merger does happen, you know, and again, like I said, there's a possibility, like a small, teeny bit of salt of a chance, like it's, you know, a salt, you know, of a chance that it might not happen, but I think it's going to. I don't think that people care. I think they just want, I think they're just going to let them get away with it, you know, and, like I said, I don't really care for, I don't really want either of them getting it, but at this point, I'm pretty much kind of just getting over Hollywood, you know, like, I mean, I'll go and, like, watch a movie here and there and all that, like, but I'm like, I kind of don't even really want their, like, don't really want their streaming services and all that. I'm kind of just done with all of that, you know, but yeah, But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with politics, too. Like I said, I want entertainment, not politics. I don't want politics, like, I just want to have entertainment. I mean, you can make entertainment with political stuff. I mean, Walt Disney did it, you know, like, that's how he made some movies and stuff in the past. Like, he made movies about stuff, you know, that was problematic back then, you know, like, looking different, like Dumbo or something like that, or trying to teach kids how to behave like Pinocchio, you know? Which, by the way, I just did a review on Pinocchio. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'm going to try to upload it here, you know, soon. You know, but my point is, though, is they've done this stuff in the past. The problem is they get way too into it, and, that's the problem. And like I said, all this race swapping they do and all that, like, it's stupid, and, you know, you just kind of take away the characters, you know, and all that, like, what they did to April from the Ninja Turtles, like, she looks absolutely nothing like her, you know, her old character, you know, she looks different. She looks completely like a different character. I hate that stuff. And that's the stuff I don't want to see, you know, but, I mean, I don't care if they put some of this crap in the movie, you know, like, not that stuff. I don't really like that stuff, you know, but if they put some of the stuff in the movie, you know, like I said, like, they want to make a movie about an autistic person, you know, that's fine, but, like, I don't need, you know, this stuff, like, in every single film or movie and, like, shoved down my throat, you know? But yeah, I mean, but with Warner Brothers, like I said, Paramount getting merged, we're going to be down to 4 studios left. Yep, four major studios left. And unless Disney gets acquired by another studio, which could happen, could not, because they're not in great shape either. I mean, they got a new CEO, but they're not in great shape either. In fact, I'm going to be making another video about it, because I wasn't planning on doing it, but I apparently there was some more stuff to it, so I kind of want to talk about it. Then I think they're definitely, like I said, they're definitely not in great shape. They are, like, people are trying to say they are, and I'm like, they're not. Like, they're not in great shape either. Like, a lot of these studios are just in trouble, you know, and it's just mistakes they've made from the past, like bad movies, trashing on fans and all that, and, you know, it just feels like, you know, that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, I don't know, but yeah, this is pretty much where we're at, but like I've said before, I don't want either of them to have it. I kind of rather have Warner Brothers just be put out of its misery, because now it's going to be merged with another studio, and that studio could go under, too. And I mean, yeah, they could probably keep the IP and stuff, you know, alive, but I'm just like, but I'm also like, you know, I don't want to see Paramount go out of business either, but even if I, you know, like I said, I don't like some of the crap the Ellisons have done either, you know. I could say the same thing about Disney, you know, I want Disney to get better, but I'm also like, I've kind of lost faith at this point, you know, of this kind of stuff, you know. I'm kind of just moving on, you know. I've got a whole bunch of older stuff, you know. I'm like, I can watch, you know, throughout history. I don't really need, you know, this stuff anymore, you know. Like, I mean, I want like, you know, stuff to continue on, but like I'm also like if it's bad, I'm like I'll just go back to the older stuff, you know. But I mean, a lot of people are making content outside of Hollywood anyway anymore, you know, because it's gotten so bad. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna probably go ahead and let the video go because I have nothing else to really add to all of this. But yeah, I gotta get ready. I'm gonna be going to bed because I actually am gonna be going to dinner tomorrow, or I guess I'm later today because you know, I'm gonna be having my little birthday dinner and all that. Yep, my birthday dinner. I mean, I'd rather do do this stuff on the weekends, you know, with that kind of stuff. Because that's when, you know, I would do my birthday stuff there. But, I kind of want to just get the birthday, I kind of want to just have my birthday dinner, you know, get it done, like, early here, you know, so, yep. Anywho, though, I'm going to go ahead and let the video go, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye-bye.